Record. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna improvise just a little bit here, so just hold on tight for just about a minute and 30 seconds or so. Hold on. All right, the nerd in me could not resist. May the fourth be with you, everyone. Happy May 4th. Um, let's go ahead and get started with our traditional meeting here. So, um, IMATs, if you don't have an IMATs account, make sure you have one. You need it some way, shape, or form. You will need it because IDPH will one day come look at you and say, hey, why don't you have this account? And we're going to start shipping stuff through it. While we don't do that all the time, it is still something that is that the state is using. All right, we'll do a quick roll call for starting with our hospitals. We'll start off with Anderson.
Eric Phil.
Gotcha. Eric, Alton Memorial.
That's Aaron. Good morning.
Good morning, Eric. Boyd. Anyone from Boyd? Nope. Okay. Carlinville Area Hospital. I get Eric used to covering for Staunton as well still.
That's correct.
We'll do Fayette. I think we got Tina on.
I'm here.
Yep, with your pretty picture in the background. Gateway.
Gateway.
We're here, Phil.
Gotcha. Is Danielle with you or is just you today, Rick?
Fortunately, it's just me.
Okay, no problem. Holy Family. St. E's.
St. E's is here.
How about that? No, I saw Brad. Thank you. St. Joseph Breeze. How about Highland? Over to Jersey. Once, twice, thrice for Kelly. Nope. Okay. And for Belleville, obviously you got myself here. Lee's on. Scott's on. We got the team here. Mike Gilbert won't be joining today as he has a concurrent meeting going on. And so we got the rest of the team here currently. Chester.
I'm here. This is Georgia. I may have to jump off though.
Okay. Today shouldn't be too long, so but I appreciate
Okay.
it, Georgia. Thank you. I think we got Gary on from St. A's. Is that
Yep.
right?
Yeah, Gary's here.
Gotcha. How about Redbud? No Tara.
Redwood's here. This is Tara.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you so much. All right, Sparta. And what about Touche? All right, we'll move over to the health departments. How about Bond County?
Terry, I'm here.
Gotcha. Terry. Calhoun. Clinton. Eastside Health. All right. Fayette. Greene County. Nope. Nope. Jersey. Coopin.
Derek here, Phil.
Gotcha. Thank you very much, Derek. Madison?
Michelle's here.
Thanks, Michelle. Glad to hear you. Monroe? Randolph County? And St. Clair County.
Good morning, it's Kara. I'm here.
Gotcha, Kara. Thank you. Just from our community partners, I know, again, Greg Atterbury can't make it today. He has a concurrent meeting. He did give me some information to pass on. I do see our emergency response coordinator, Beth. Are you still here? And I saw your May the 4th be with you chat, so I'm counting you. Any of our BJC partners on? Any other emergency management agency personnel on from any of the counties? How about MedStar?
Good morning, Phil. You have John.
Gotcha, John. Thank you very much. How about Abbott? Sloop? Leslie, I see you on. I see you. I don't know if you just did get unmuted for Abbott. Gotcha. All right. Any of our Scott Air Force Base partners? And last but not least, our STARS partners.
Hi, this is Sam.
Gotcha, Sam. I think we got a few other folks on. Anyone else want to be recorded for posterity?
Hey, Phil, this is Sonia Malink from St. Joseph's Hospital in Highland.
Highland, I gotcha. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anyone else didn't get called?
Phil, Denny Stanford from OSF's here.
Gotcha, Denny. Thank you.
Paula Campbell with IPHCA.
Hey, Paula, how are you? Glad to have you. All right. This is our 4th installment. Well, it's actually our 5th. I'm going to call it the 4th because it's the 4th. So our 4th installment of our COVID wars. And we're celebrating by not reviewing COVID information for the first time in, I think, probably 19 months before we get started our meeting. And I say that for 2 reasons why I've chosen to pull that information out. One, the state has stopped reporting some of the like the COVID information on the state's website. So the positivity rates, and that's primarily, and Beth, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's primarily because of the amount of testing that's going on outside of, I'm using air quotes, official channels, but we have a lot more testing going on that's not totally managed by the state. So they don't have as much confidence in that information as before. So with that, we're going to stop or at least pause right now while we do have a lull in the COVID information. We are tracking it still daily and will continue to until the state moves out of the governor's declared emergency. We will continue to track this information just as a coalition. So basic agenda, again, COVID-19 update is that there will be no update today. And we'll go through our traditional stuff, but we'll also, down here at the bottom, you'll see we have a CHEMPAC exercise review. On 4/29, we did do a CHEMPAC exercise across the entire region, and we'll go over some of the results of that. So you guys can just have some inkling of where we're at while we prepare the after actions report. We'll probably go over that in more final detail on our quarterly meeting next month. So, all right, for Greg, he wanted me to pass along. Some of you may have received a note from the state, or maybe through Siren, regarding the state antivirals. And Beth, please chime in if you need to. But in that, in short, they basically said that Tamiflu could be stored for 20 years after the expiration date, and Relenza could be stored 10 years after the expiration date. I know we've had a lot of questions and consternation about all the Tamiflu that folks were holding on to. Well, here's a more finite or definitive answer on how long you can keep that. I will pause for a second for Beth. Beth, was there anything else you wanted to pass on or any other information that you feel as though is important with regard to those drugs?
Can you hear me now, Phil?
Yep, gotcha. Loud and clear.
Okay, great. No, it's typical that we found over the years, a lot of times they extend the shelf life on these medicines. So Our general rule of thumb is to tell people if you've got the room, hang on to them, even if they're expired, because chances are it will get extended. And I know some of the health departments have done that, some of them have not. But it's nice to get an official date in writing. So
Exactly.
there you go.
Any questions with regard to this? Because I know on a few hospital visits, we've talked about this in the past. No? Okay. If you do have any questions for Greg, feel free to, you can ask me and I'll pass them on, or you shoot me an email, just shoot Greg an email directly. See if if he can answer anything for you. Next, we'll move over to Beth, in the public health departments. Any updates?
Good morning. And to your point, you're right, the state will not be reporting positivity rates. I think I talked about this last time. They're moving towards community levels or transmission levels. And CDC reports those. And then I believe IDPH still does. So if you want to see where you're at, they do it county by county. In Illinois, the numbers are very slowly starting to creep up. I think we have about half a dozen counties who are creeping up a bit in their community levels. So we're just keeping an eye on that. The other big news is the vaccine for the little tykes, less than 5, less than 6 years old. We anticipate that the Moderna and Pfizer will submit data to the feds the end of May or early June is what we're being told. So fingers crossed that we'll try to get all of those kiddos vaccinated. And I believe that's all I had. I wanted to ask too, Phil, if you could talk about the exercise that's, what are the requirements that you guys as a coalition in the grant for the big exercise this year? I know it's been changed back and forth. What is the final requirement as far as what capabilities are going to be tested? And I'm talking about, is it burn surge? Did we already do that? I think we're supposed to do radiation next year. If you could clarify that for me, I'd appreciate it.
Sure. So yeah, we still do have a requirement for a burn surge exercise, and it's just a tabletop. We did draft the burn surge annex. For us, obviously not having a ton of burn surge or any real burn surge capability on this side of the river, it makes it really difficult for us to get, I won't say to get something meaningful out of it, but we're gonna try. We're gonna probably try to target that for the middle part of June. We have not got a date, but please be on the lookout for it. I was going to discuss that because we still do have to do that. Well, I was going to discuss that when we went over the ChemPAC exercise. It's just been kind of hit and miss. And yes, radiation is next year's key area, which we'll have to do a tabletop. So they only ask for tabletops to do that, basically to validate your annex or plan. So Lee's done a lot of work. Eric has done a lot of work putting together a new annex for a radiation support annex for the coalition that will go out for review very soon. So we'll be talking about that next month's meeting. So it will basically go out for review, and we're going to probably put it out there for 60 days and then target trying to do the exercise in the fall. Just try to get it knocked out. So I hope that's about as clear as I have it right now. They did just submit or put out the NOFO for the FY23 grant. So I'm reviewing that now. And that is one of the things in it.
Okay, great. That helps a lot. Thanks, Phil.
No problem. Any questions for Beth? Hearing none. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on. Stars. Sam, would you like to provide any updates?
Sure, just a couple. We did have our burn surge exercise planned for this last month, and unfortunately we had to cancel it due to the severe weather in the area. So we've rescheduled that to early June, June 2nd. We'll be doing a burn surge from 9 to noon to make up for that. And then we're also going to start doing some other planning again for some exercises. So I'll be happy to share that. We're going to get some more teams together to start doing regional healthcare exercises again and post-COVID. And then we're also, one of the initiatives that we kicked off in April was we're doing a STARS regional training and exercise newsletter. So if you would be interested in receiving that, we're sending it out quarterly. So the next one is June. But we're trying to kind of use that as another way to kind of share different training and exercise opportunities in the region. So if you're interested in receiving that and you haven't already received the April version, let me know and I'd be happy to add you to the mailing list so that you can receive those as well. Those are all the big objectives that we kind of have going on right now, though. If there's any questions, though, I'd be happy to answer them. Thanks.
No, thank you, Sam. So I would be curious, and I know Lee has been doing a lot with the team on that side of the river on how you guys are planning on executing your burn surge. So maybe this we can kill two birds with one stone. Not sure. I know it's kind of short, still short notice either way, but we have to get ours done as well. So we'll probably be reaching out to you guys.
Sounds great. Yeah, we'd be happy to help any way we can.
Thanks, Sam. All right. Mike is not here for Remark today. Again, like I said, he's on a concurrent meeting. I'll pass over to Lee. Any Remark updates?
We continue to train. We're working with the fine folks from MedStar and Madison Fire Department on the upcoming NASCAR response, and just kind of seeing, where things are going to go with that. Really beyond that, no major changes.
All right. Any questions for Lee? Hearing none. A quick update on decon training, Lee.
All right. Unfortunately, the class we had scheduled for Monday, which was here at Belleville, had to be canceled due to basically a lack of participation. We only had 2 students, and it's just not viable to be able to do that. The next coming class is actually going to be the beginning of June, and it's at Jerseyville. That class is, I think right now, got 4 people registered, and from my conversations with Kelly and crew up at Jerseyville, they should have somewhere around 20 students still for that class. So that one looks like it's going to go forward, at least at this point. We do ask if you're planning to attend the classes that you register on the Member Planet portal. We need to see that information so we can make sure that we have everything, and that, we also don't overbook or we don't have a class and no one shows. So please make sure that you register that, or any of your folks who are going to be participating. The other class that we have currently on the books is scheduled for August, and that's here at Memorial Belleville. And we are in talks with some of our southern hospitals about doing a joint class down there for them that'll be open to the region as well. More to come on that as we, solidify some of those plans. Beyond that, we really don't have any major changes as far as that goes. We're in the revision process still for the new training material that hopefully will be forthcoming, and then we'll get it off to the printers so that we actually have printed materials that are nicely packaged for the classes. Really, I think the only other topic that had come up, we've had multiple requests for a train the trainer course, and we're still trying to muddle our way through the best approach to that. We did it previously and it kind of died on the vine. We really don't want to do the same thing and end up in the same boat. So if you have folks who are legitimately interested in teaching decon, people who are actually into decon, as it were, by all means, please let us know, because we do need to build up our regional training staff. We need cadre that can go and help do these classes, because typically it's just our office that's teaching, and that's an awful big lift for us on top of everything else that we have to do. We'd like to be able to get more help from our coalition partners. We do have help from St. Clair Special Services that will come out, but it's still something where we need hospital involvement. It's a hospital-based program, so we want to make sure that we keep that going. Beyond that, I think I've covered everything. Phil, do you have anything else that you could think of?
Nope, I think you hit it all. I think you hit it all. I just would implore, yeah, if you really have someone, make sure that that person is the person that you would want as probably a candidate to teach. Because again, I've said it before, but it takes a lot. So, okay, we're gonna move on. I know, yeah, Eric's not on, correct? No, he's not on. So we'll skip our pediatrics update. And just a plug again for EDAP as we do monthly. All right, grant status, no major changes for though. I know working through a few items with, I'll just say some technicalities on the grant management side for this year's, finalizing this year's grant, and as folks continue to spend. So hopefully folks are able to continue to spend and get that done. I did want to reach out to Georgia and ask, I know we were still looking at, I think, one thing for you, Georgia, and I believe that was at the cart. I don't know what to call it, the cart. Oh man. Oh,
It was a refrigerator,
yeah. Refrigerator. Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the stat? Where are we at with that? Did you already spend the rest of your stuff already?
No, I haven't spent because my ER director decided that wasn't the type of, my other thing I asked for was a bed, and she doesn't like that one, so I'm gonna have to do a revision once she gets a new one for me. So I'm waiting. And then you told me that if there's money left over, that we could try to get the refrigerator after it's all said and done.
Yeah, and I think we'll definitely be able to do that. We're gonna have, because we did have some folks that were unable to execute on some funds, return it. We had some funds that we had to bring back. I'll say like the Haggerty funds that we had that we're using to contract our exercise out, that we're recalling. So we're gonna have a big amount of funds that will allow us to, I'll tell you the 3 targeted areas that we're really looking at to fulfill and whatever else we can in that time frame before the end of the year. But those 3 things are rounding out the remainder of the ventilators that we wanted to purchase. So we'll have all of the X vents, and I think it may take us to 30 across the region, which would be good. Goal is to potentially have those out to have those out at the resource hospitals, and to have it at a few EMS locations, a few key EMS partners out there as well. But then after that is to continue to expand on our, I won't call it positive air purifying respirators, the PAPRs, but the Halo versions of them. We have a quote and a bid to go out for that. It's a pretty big one, but we've got good reviews back from those, so we'd like to expand on those. And also it just really a lot more compact for us to house and distribute over top of the traditional cappers that we see out there. So we're going to move in that direction for that. And then after that, we got some duodotes, so nerve agent antidote kits, the auto injectors that we'd like to get out there. So we're making a big purchase of those that we want to get out to all the hospitals. We'll kind of discuss that here when we go over the Chem Pack. So that's where we're kind of headed with those. The notice, what they call the NOFO, the notice of opportunity of funding memo has gone out. We're reviewing that. All of the other coalitions are reviewing that as well. It's pretty much going to be the same as last year. They'll change a few things, as Beth and I discussed earlier, with regard to what's the theme of the year. So this theme will be radiation, and I think that's somewhere where we're leaning very far forward, and I think things will be pretty easy for us to accomplish there. So when the requirement comes out, or the request comes out for you guys to review the radiation annex, please do so in a timely manner so we can get whatever feedback we can, press forward, and then hopefully on our September meeting, that's where I would like to just go ahead and get all the plans approved, because that's what's going to happen. I'll discuss it next month, but we want to basically approve all of our plans, annexes, governing documents, etc., all at once. So that will go out as a requirement or request for you guys to provide feedback like we do each year. Getting no feedback is basically concurrent. So if we don't get back any information from you guys, we'll just presume that it reads as you'd like it to read, and then we'll at least have off our signed documents for the year. So, but we're going to try to move that up earlier and earlier each year. Last year we did it on our December meeting. This year we're going to be targeting the September meeting, so that the quarterly coalition meeting then. So please be on the lookout for that. All right, KIMPAC exercise review. We years and years coming, lots of man hours spent and lots of dollars spent. We did not get to do our full-scale exercise, but we did put together something that was functional level that I think met a lot of the objectives that we had out. The one objective it did not or was not going to be able to meet, it was going to be the patient care side. So we did everything that we could regarding the KIMPAC except take care of patients. Now, that's something that we can, I believe that we can do in smaller group settings, or, have a hospital do certain things with folks who've been exposed to a nerve agent or what have you, or an organophosphate / nerve agent. But we basically did everything outside of that on the 29th, so last Friday. The major players was Anderson Hospital here, Memorial Hospital, Belleville being two of the KIMPAC host hospitals here, Staunton Hospital, Edwardsville Fire, MedStar EMS, and Airvac EMS. And most of the hospitals participated too on part of the exercise, definitely the MCI portion of the surge portion when we ask for bed counts, et cetera, through EM Resource, because that's kind of what we do on the regulars. So those are your participants. And that's what we called it, the fog of war. That's what we were calling the exercise. So just a general overview. We may talk about this more in depth on the next meeting. And by that point in time, you should have a copy of the AAR out there. But the exercise started at 0900 and ended at 10:10. So about an hour and 10 minutes from initial notification to we've got medications on scene at all the locations that we targeted. The MCI alert went out at 9:15 on the dot. Also bundled within that was a request to fill out a survey. The time frames you can kind of see here from the start of the exercise, and if you can imagine this, the start of the exercise is someone reporting or seeing, or someone declaring an MCI and requesting the KIMPAC. That occurred at 0900 at both locations. So what we did is we had two concurrent locations experiencing an organophosphate MCI, or nerve agent MCI, organophosphate MCI that required action of the KIMPAC. One of those was we still used our Edwardsville location as kind of the fictitious spot, and which was Plummer Park. And then here, over here in St. Clair County, we went to Eckert's in Millstadt, the fun farm that they had here. We picked both locations primarily because they are at times can be packed with a lot of kids. So that was one of the original components of the exercise, that we wanted to make sure that we had a good pediatric component as well. So we picked these two locations and used them, and basically because they're distance. So as you can kind of see in the observations, they're both roughly 9 miles away from the KIMPAC hospitals, which is pretty close. But we also incorporated Staunton, which is about 23 miles away from Anderson as well. And you'll notice in the list of, I guess, primary players that we had traditional EMS services there, but we also had the air evac folks as well, because we wanted to incorporate them based on the size of our region and the thought that a helicopter can fly faster than an ambulance or a police car can drive and get stuff somewhere, and that proved to be true. So communication systems worked well, whether it was over 800 or Starcom or through EM Resource. One bad part about it, even though the EM Resource went out, we only got 59% completion rate from the hospitals. And I just want to stress that that is, an important function. We do it and we kind of take for granted every day. We update bed statuses, but when that MCI alert comes out, same can be said for on the tornado night. When that MCI alert comes out, I'm looking directly at that to be able to at least relay that information for whoever the triage officers are, and they want to know. And some of them have direct access. We got our John Nowaks out there, and I know he's having some new issues with the changeover with EM Resource. But that said, that is our common operating picture for where beds are available, how many red, yellows, and greens you can take right now, and that's really critical. So we had 10 out of 17 hospitals fill that out. Now, the report, unfortunately, I could not pull. It would only pull those in Region 4, but I do know that Carlinville Area Hospital in Jersey, which are in Region 3 EMS region, did receive it, but I couldn't pull that in the report. So I don't know how they updated during that time frame. There was kind of a poor response from pharmacy on the medical supplies survey. So again, concurrently with that MCI alert, when it went out, it also contained the link. I do know the link was broken, but we resent it out. So I think as of right now, we have 12 responses from the entire region currently. And that survey basically asked, what medical supplies does your organization have? And I just mirrored what's inside of the chem pack. So that's atropine, sulfate, if it's atropine in a multi-dose vials or actual pens, small auto injectors, diazepam. We asked for other suitable substitutes for diazepam, which you may have on hand from your pharmacy. And some folks gave really detailed information, which I'm very thankful for, that we can really digest. This many vials, this many milligrams per milliliter, blah, blah, blah. They gave really good information. Some folks provided a number. It would say, how much atropine do you have? And it just says 200. That's it. It just has a number. So it didn't really break it down. We asked to be kind of specific. So Scott Klosterman has been reaching out to folks who haven't completed the organization who haven't completed. And then we're probably gonna have to reach back out so we can decipher some of the information. I was gonna toss to my pharmacist, but my pharmacist probably couldn't make heads or tails of some of the responses either. But so we're probably gonna be reaching out again that way. ED staff needed some support. So I'll speak from my standpoint, and I would like Eric to, if he could, talk from his standpoint. When the call came in, I'll say this, the call came in initially over 800 because our good folks at MedStar, they use a lot of 800 down here. It came over 800 and it came in kind of weak but readable. I heard it, but they thought it was a ghost call coming over Starcom. Then they followed up, or Eric Perham followed up 3 minutes later on a phone call into the ED. Now, they knew it was all an exercise. I was down there to help coach them through, and I had a charge nurse in training going through this at the time. So I had one of our primary charge nurses who was unfamiliar with the process and plan. No matter how many times we've talked about it as a ChemPack host, you still have folks that make it through the cracks that aren't familiar. So I did provide a little bit of just-in-time training the day prior because they were working 2 days in a row, and got the same crew the next day. So that did help. But they still needed some guidance and coaching. One thing that was a standout from both emergency departments was the actual use of this right here. This is the quick activation checklist, the ChemPack Hospital Quick Activation Guide. And this is inside the Kenpack Annex. This seemed to be a standout. It actually helped. And again, I'm gonna let Eric talk about this a little bit, but our team here thought that it helped out. We found some areas where we can make it better, but it was a good guide. And so my team, while they needed a little bit of coaching, they did make it. They did make it through. Eric, I would like to pause right now and just get a little bit of feedback from your perspective on, the ED there and how things was kind of working for you guys at Anderson.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. First of all, it was a phenomenal exercise for, you say it was simple, but as those of you who played it intimately know it was anything but simple. I had charge nurse sweating, doing a functional exercise basically from her point. So that was good to see. She got into it. I did a lot of the same things you did because this was something so foreign, because we had never had the opportunity to exercise this. I basically provided the regional plan to all of the charge nurses, not knowing which one was going to be on duty when we pulled the actual exercise. So I didn't speak to them directly, just basically told them, hey, this is coming. If I were you, I'd learn this. And I can speak directly to what you touched on with your appendices to the annex, because that's what kept our emergency department on the right track. The checklist, the massive checklist that includes all entities that would be involved in this. They utilized that. They certainly utilized a quick reference. I'll even go so far as to, in my opinion, I believe that I'm sure your pharmacists have told you the same thing. They have plenty else to do other than this, but they did enjoy playing, and they referenced utilizing the regional plan to help guide them through the exercise. So I think we've ticked upon something that just seems kind of obvious now. Is, as we all know, we hope this never happens, but we also know from playing in this exercise how catastrophic it would be and how time sensitive it is. Because the longer, I think that's why the charge nurse was sweating, is she's understanding that if it's a real thing, the longer we wait to get that Kenpack out the door, people are dying. So it is, I think, in our best interest to go through the regional plan with a fine tooth comb, and make sure all the hospitals have a plan, a policy in place that echoes that specifically, follows the regional plan very closely, simply because of the fact that we all know, as much as we'd love to know that everybody knows this now backward and forward, we just scrape the surface by not actually doing transport of patients and decon and facility security and all these other things that are quite obvious in this situation. It is good to know that I in preparation for this, I got a MOU with Aerovac across the street 2 days before the exercise. Because I wanted to try it. And naturally, this is not specific to Aerovac. If, in the event we would have a regional activation, we certainly rely on all air medical, because, more often than not, they can get there a lot quicker than ground. Put it in perspective, we did activate Community Hospital in Staunton we actually tweaked this scenario and actually had a similar occurrence as what Edwardsville Fire Department had, and we utilized it in Staunton so that they could play. And since we are tasked with providing them with their portion of the Kenpack, that's why we did the air medical. And I will tell you that from activation to Community Hospital Staunton receiving their Kenpack, they beat us, because it got flown there versus a Maryville PD car driving the speed limit, driving to Edwardsville. They actually beat us by like 3 minutes. So, and of course, as you pointed out, that's 23.3 miles away. So, it's just thinking outside the box type of stuff. I can't speak to my feeling that the importance of tweaking the plan and making it valuable piece of information for everybody. So in the event that this does happen, people can pull that out, pull it up, whatever it is, and actually hit the check boxes and have good references. I also see that Chief McKee from Edwardsville Fire Department is on here. Brendan, do you have anything to add?
No, Eric, you said the same thing. It was a great exercise from Edwardsville's point of view, and I want to thank everybody that's on this media right now, because from a hazmat perspective, I've been a hazmat tech for well over 20 years now, and it's nice to have this resource in the background. And for the people working in the field, these hazmat teams have the resources in the hospital. It's a nice thing to know that we have resources that understand what we're dealing with out there and can get us the resources we need.
Well, thank you both Eric, Chief. I really appreciate the feedback. So to those points that, information is information, but non-executable information, it is just information. So what I'm saying is that when you get these plans, and what Eric is, really relaying is that, yeah, we see them all the time, but now when you put them into practice, we've got some good things out of here, but it's not perfect. That's going to be for every other plan that we get as well. So when you read some of those things, try to leave your administrative glasses at home, because we always get plenty of maybe grammatical corrections. Look at some more of the substantive stuff. Put yourself in the mindset of the responder. Put yourself in the mindset of the ED charge nurse, or PCT, or ER tech that has to, do something based on the information that's provided. Everything is a living document. These are living, breathing documents. We go through and we annually review them. But if there's something that comes up that may be tangentially close to what you're doing, and you go, you know what, that maybe we can add that to the KIMPAC, or maybe we can add that to the surge, or whatever annex that we have, it really helps in the long run. Because, and again, we got a chance to see that in action, where folks were like, my charge nurse told me I would be lost if I didn't have this little checklist. And I was like, well, that's good to hear. Now, should my emergency department have probably a policy or a highly customized checklist that they already have developed, and not have to totally lean on the annex? Yes. But this is why we wrote that annex in that fashion, because we knew it was something that's not very familiar to the bedside nurse. So, and even the assistant nurse manager, for that matter, in the ED. So, and with that, so I will say this, where you see where it says ED needed some support, I kind of gave you that perspective. But then where it says pharmacy staff, they require some support as well. And one of those, I think, probably needs to come in pre-built formularies for what's there. So for those of you who are not familiar with what the KIMPAC actually looks like, when we're discussing it, basically what you're going to end up with, here's a checklist that Eric was talking about. So I need to go down. I apologize. So what they'll end up looking at is 2 containers, one for the hospital and one for EMS. And they have their quantities listed here in this table. Now, imagine someone telling you, I'm at Millstadt, I'm at Eckert's Fun Park here in Millstadt, and from initial accounts, fire department's telling me I got about 40 kids and about 25 adults here. And the crop duster just accidentally sprayed over top of this huge Easter egg hunt, or whatever was going on that day in this maze. And now your pharmacist says, okay, how much do you need? So the conversation, and I'll probably ask John Nowak to chime in here. The conversations that kind of took place at that point literally were over dosing requirements and age groups, weights, everything. It was just, it was something that requires an immediacy to it. And it did not have that immediacy to it. My pharmacist was trying to break down what to give and how much amount, how many adults and how many of this and how many of that, which was probably not working in the favor of the treatment of those patients at the time. And again, this was an exercise. So we knew some of this was going to happen, but it kind of went to a degree that I didn't think it was going to go to, because we did get to the point where my pharmacist said, well, I'm just going to send the entire chem pack. He said I would have to send the entire chem pack. And I said, what? My brain said, what? And the reason I say that is because this chem pack, as you can see for the EMS, this was the EMS side. So this was going out for John. It says can treat 454 patients. It literally has 1,200 auto injectors inside there, 1,200 auto injectors. So this wasn't what I would think would have been the correct move to send out the entire thing. But he broke down what he would do, and we worked through the chain of custody. So I'm going to ask John. I'll put John on blast really quickly. Can you give me a little bit of what was your perspective? Because you walked the whole thing with me, the charge nurse, and one of my pharmacists. Can you give me a little bit of perspective of what you thought, knowing that you were going to receive these assets out there if you were, on scene?
Yeah, Phil, again, just real quick, it was a great exercise because there were a lot of lessons learned. And I'm glad you brought this up about the pediatric, because it made me think too, again, when EMS or even, it don't matter, EMS, hospital staff, when you're put in that situation, how much can you remember? I mean, how much, I don't care how good you are, when you got 20 kids laying on the ground affected, how good can you remember dosages? So that was a big issue. I literally called two of our medics that I have high respect for. Neither one of them could pull it off their hip for me. They said, give me a minute, let me look that up. Again, so, we learned a lesson there. So we're going to try to have that, make sure that's how we keep that available for them at all times. I don't know. But again, trying to dig through an SOG or, you don't have time for that because time is life when it comes to this. Overall, I thought it went pretty good. It was good to see that the charge nurse and the trainee were walking through those checklists, because I'm telling you, even the many things that I have done, if I didn't have checklists, I guarantee you I would forget something. Checklists are vital. And a thing that Eric said, I have preached for years. We all have plans. We all have some good plans. But sitting down and making those plans work with each other's plans is vital. So overall, Phil, I think the exercise was a very good success. Could have been a little bit better timing. Of course, as far as I say timing is, I sure wish we could have got 23 miles and a few extra short minutes, but it is what it is. And it just proved, again, one thing that you did, I believe you did call out for Belleville PD and they were unavailable at that exact moment. So you did have to pass that transfer of those chem packs to an EMS provider, which that worked. And we kind of always felt that might happen. But to hear that we actually used an AirVac or even Arch, man, that's awesome thinking outside of the box. That is awesome thinking. So just a little bit on my side. It was quite interesting, and I'm glad you let us participate.
Well, we appreciate that, and we appreciate your support in doing so. So there's, again, lots of nuggets to take away from this. We're going to continue to work towards making that better and the response to it better. But we want to keep you guys, all engaged in this. So please be on the lookout for any requested feedback and the review of this plan to make sure that it kind of fits the mold. We're gonna put together a few, maybe a little workshop to kind of help out with this formulary portion So we'll probably take our, at least our medical director here, and probably grab another medical director and a few other folks, even our fire folks, because they're, especially on the EMS side, I'm just gonna say the first responder side, not EMS side. I would like a lot of you guys to really kind of rationalize this as well, is that because of the nature of a hazmat incident, most of your EMS folks, specifically in this regard, with regard to response to an organophosphate or any toxic industrial material, to be quite honest, your EMS folks are not going to have the proper PPE or be trained to be in a what I'll just dub a hot environment, where you're actually, you've moved into the hot zone where the chemical potentially is, and are helping fire department extract folks and or providing treatment in those areas. I want you to think about that scene. Those folks have to be retrieved from those areas, whether they're ambulatory or non-ambulatory, and treated. And there may be a portion of where there's some gross decon that goes on before that, before they even make it into the arms of a paramedic, or paramedic that will be transporting them, because we obviously have fire paramedics as well that are on scene. But those folks need to be able to get folks into an environment in which they can administer the nerve agent antidote kits. So those duodotes, it may not be in the hand of a traditional EMS provider. Okay, it's probably going to be in one of the fire dogs' hands, and they're going to go out there and they're going to hit those thighs with atropine, with the duodotes, and try to get them back, get them through decon, and then get them transported to a hospital. The areas that you're probably gonna have to worry about, again, the checklists address this, is that you're gonna have to worry about those walking wounded, and those who are publicly paranoid because they've heard something, and they're gonna approach your doorstep, and then your first receiver decon, you're gonna have to work really difficult at the hospital. So lots of things that did not happen concurrently, but it takes an entire team effort to make sure that we can respond to either one of these instances, let alone two of them happening at the same time. So, and yes, that we did learn, and glad to learn that good folks like AirVac, that the helicopter is a viable method of transport, just and simply due to the amount of downtime. That was a good conversation I had with, I believe his name is Kyle. He came by one day, and that was my question: exactly how available are you to transport? And he kind of gave me the amount of downtime that they have, and they have a lot of downtime for a reason. But when they're needed, they're there and they're available. So it was great to see them be able to take part. Any questions from the team regarding the exercise in general? No? Okay, here's the this is what I pulled from EM Resource. So you can kind of see who I've highlighted, those who were not able to update during that time frame. So if you're highlighted, please double check your event notification preferences and make sure that definitely you should be receiving it, but make sure that your EDs have access to the information, or to EM Resource, and are able to update EM Resource. Now, some folks may take that on their own to say, okay, I'm the HPP coordinator for the hospital, so when this goes off, I just contact the ED and then I update. Okay, that's fine. If that's how you want to roll, that's fine. But we got to make sure we have someone with access and can update. So I'm not going to dictate who has to. I just would encourage you guys to have your EDs up and operational on it, so they can make those decisions and they're educated and they can get that information in, because that is one less step for you to have to worry about. You can just check up and say, hey, did you do it, and would you update it with? Okay. All right.
Hey, Phil,
Yes,
real
John.
quick.
Sorry.
Just
go ahead.
because you brought up the EM Resource and then you actually mentioned me. Hey, everybody, just so you know, I have been with EM Resource since it came to the St. Louis area. Again, when this exercise went off, I did not get the notification. EM Resources had a lot of platform changes and system updates. If I would advise that you go in and just double check your preferences and how you receive the messages, because that's all it was with mine. Is somehow or another that alert message for Region 4 got shut off for MCI. I had every other alert, but for the MCI, I did not have the alert. So please check your notifications on that.
Thank you, John. Yes, very vitally important, vitally important. Open the floor to the coalition. Any questions, concerns, thoughts? Okay, hearing none. Upcoming events, Lee pointed out, next decon class, and it's in Member Planet now, is out at Jersey Community Hospital. So on the 3rd of June, please be on the lookout for that. We did have this treatment webinar. I was going to ask Eric or Lee to tell me how they thought it went. This was a chemical and radiological treatment webinar. How'd that end up, Lee?
Well, unfortunately, I only got to attend the chemical portion because the RAD was the same time as our ChemPAC. However, the material is recorded, and I plan to go back and review the RAD part. The chemical, though, was excellent. The presentations were pertinent. They were formatted in a fashion that benefits from the basic first responder all the way up through the actual MDs and the ED who are, given the care. There was a lot of good information there, as well as some reference information. The RAD one looked to be pretty beneficial. I just didn't get a time to delve into that one due to the ongoing events, but I'll report back on that after I've watched it.
All right. And will that recording be available for other folks if they didn't register early? Do you know?
Yeah, those recordings are always available on the American Association of Toxicologists, I think it is. The same link you go to register, it's the main people who run it. They have it under their e-learning program. And they do offer free CE for that for basically all levels of providers. So whether you're public health, nursing, MD, or even EMS, there's an option there to get free education out of it.
Very nice. So once we'll get those links and we'll send those out. Again, I know we sent it out for the initial, but we'll send it out for the follow-up as well. IDPH Summit, again, is canceled this year, but the IAEM, the International Association of Emergency Managers, is occurring 11 through 17 November in Savannah, Georgia. Both Lee and I will be participating in that. And the National Healthcare Coalition Preparedness Conference is in November 29th to December 1st in Anaheim, California. I do think that there is one extra day that's not listed in the primary days if you go to the website, but that's the general time frame there. And in that one, Eric Perham and Scott Klosterman will be attending that one. So if you guys are planning on going there, that'd be great to link up with you there. So that said, I don't have anything additional. Again, thank you guys for everything you do. Thank you for attending today, and may the 4th be with you. I will see you next month.